Welcome to the live stream. Today we're talking about how my client Brian lost a ton of body fat, got ripped in 93 days, eating sugar every single day. Yes, every single day. I'm going to break down exactly how he did it, how we set it all up, and you're going to have your mind blown today to understand how sugar actually works so you can replicate similar results inside of your transformation plan. Now, I'm streaming this live, so if you're watching live, first of all, welcome, and let's jump right into it. If you can hear me, okay, just comment, yep, I'm here in the live stream, I can hear you, everything's awesome, and we're going to dive into Brian's program so that you can start eating sugar every day and crushing your results, okay? So check this out. Brian came to me as he was getting ready to turn 50 years old. And he said, listen, I'm just sick and tired of having to buy bigger clothes all the time because I keep gaining weight. You know, every year I'm up 10, 15, 20 pounds. I'm packing on body fat. I hate the way I look. My face feels fat. I just feel really, really disgusted with my body. And I want to change all that. And I'm getting older and I feel like it's just about too late. So he was skeptical actually when he joined my program because I said, listen, this is going to be an absolute game-changing program if you go all in. And I know there's a lot of things out there promising crazy results, okay? But based off of the problems Brian was having and my understanding of exactly where he was and the solutions we could provide to fix these problems, I felt 100% comfortable in guaranteeing Brian stellar results. And one of the things he mentioned was, hey, I have like a really bad sugar craving all the time. Like I like sweets, okay? And I struggle with eating too many sweets and I struggle with sugar, all right? I have this sugar addiction. So I said, listen, here's what we're gonna do. First of all, and for you watching this, I wanna explain sugar so you understand why the media in some cases has been lying to you, okay? Now, first and foremost, I'm not here to tell you that sugar is perfectly fine all the time. What I'm here to tell you is the sugar that gets demonized by a lot of people in the fitness industry is processed sugar, okay, that is put inside of processed foods that are made in a factory that are specifically designed to be incredibly addicting, very low satiety, meaning you eat a ton of it and you still don't feel full, very addictive, and very low cost. Okay, so we have all these foods that are being designed to basically sabotage our appetite. So then what happens? Well, we eat them and we get addicted and we want more and more and more and we crave it. Okay, and here's the funny thing. Sugar gets all the blame when in fact, a lot of these foods are high in fat, high in a lot of things, processed junk, okay, chemicals, and yes, sugar, all right? But they're not just plain sugar foods. They have a lot of things inside them, all right? So the reason why it's important to understand this is there's actually different types of sugar, all right? There's the processed sugar that really isn't healthy, even though a little bit is completely fine. We'll talk about how Brian ate some of it as time went on. But there's a whole other type of sugar, and that sugar is natural sugar, and it's sugar found in fruit. In this case, we're talking about fructose. Now, sugar in fructose, or sugar from fructose that's found in fruit, actually gets stored inside the liver, and it's actually really, really important for the body. Now, just like anything, any food, doesn't matter what food we're talking about, there's obviously a scenario where you're eating too much of that food, even if it's the healthiest food on earth, right? If you eat too many eggs, that's not good for you, even though I think eggs are incredibly healthy. If you eat too much grass-fed beef, it's probably not good for you, okay? There's always a case or a scenario where a food is not good for you in the quantity that you're eating it. But fruit is a food that we can utilize strategically to help people deal with sugar cravings, okay? Because fruit has a ton of sugar, but it's got good fruit, good sugar, all right? It doesn't have the processed crap combined with all the other processed nonsense that you find in cookies and snacks and ice cream and all this other stuff that is very addictive. Even though I would argue that the addictive nature of those foods is not just sugar. It's sugar combined with fat, combined with crunchiness, combined with the texture that just hits all the buttons when it comes to your addictive appetite. So what do we do for Brian? Well, let's kind of break down the pillars. We'll start with a really important pillar that allows someone to eat more sugar, okay, as it is. Let me explain what I mean. So two things. One is Brian needed to get more active. He was living a very sedentary lifestyle. He was sitting at his desk a lot doing work. He was driving around in his car. He was sitting around at home. He wasn't very active. So we had to improve his output of calories, okay? We had to improve his output every single day. So what did we do? Well, we had him start walking more, okay? We had him start walking on a very consistent basis, okay? So when he first came to TT, which is our program, which by the way, if you want to learn about our program, you can check out the links in the description of this video, and I'll put them in the first comment once we're done with this live. But what did he do? Well, we looked at his steps. We did an analysis. We did an audit of his activity, okay? And when we looked at his activity, he was averaging like 3,000 to 5,000 steps per day. Nowhere near the baseline where I want our clients to be, which is around 8,000 to 12,000 steps per day. Now, why is this important? Well, when it relates to sugar, it's important because a couple things. If you're very sedentary, here's what ends up happening. Your energy actually ends up coming down. Okay, it's a real interesting phenomenon, right? People all the time are like, I'm so tired all the time, I feel lethargic. And I say, well, tell me about your activity. Like, I don't have much. I just sit around all day. I don't really do a whole lot besides desk work, busy work. You know, I'm on my computer. I'm in front of the screens all the time. And I say, well, that's probably why your energy isn't great. Okay, so movement is going to produce a couple things. Number one, it's going to burn calories. Okay. Number two is it's going to help you feel more energized. Okay. When you're more consistently active, you're just naturally going to produce more energy. All right. Versus sitting around all day doing nothing. So we had Brian increase his steps. That was the first thing that we did. Now, when we increase our activity, we're burning more calories, okay? And our bodies naturally are going to need more energy, and especially more quality energy in the form of things like fruit, which has sugar, okay? So Brian would have fruit every day, which we'll talk about how he did it here in a minute. But what we started to do was move more. So we increased the steps from 4,000 to 5,000 that he was averaging to upwards of 12,000 as he got through the program. How we did it was very lifestyle friendly. We started to be strategic with where he could find time to walk. And we started to combine things that he would naturally do, like meetings on the phone, meetings with people. He would start walking with people or while he was on meetings, and he was blowing his step counter out of the water. Like, it was super, super easy. That was the first thing. Now, the second thing that we designed, and by the way, I'm going to give you something here for free here in a minute that I think will absolutely help you get all this dialed in. But the next thing that relates to the sugar conversation is we had to get his muscle building strategies dialed in, all right? Training with weights burns primarily sugar. Your body stores what's called glycogen inside your muscle bellies, inside your body, which is utilized for fuel when we train with weights, all right? So Brian started lifting weights. He had been lifting weights on and off and just needed a consistent strategy. So we set up a workout program that had him training in the gym 3 to 4 times per week for about 30 to 45 minutes. Now, what this started to do over time was it started to, once again, burn more sugar storage inside his body. So naturally, he's going to need to replenish those storages with some sugar. Now, I know not everybody has all the time in the world to train consistently. So what I did was I put together a list of 100 of my top workouts that only take 10 to 15 minutes. If you want a copy of those workouts, comment the word workouts on this video and I'll send it over to you. All right. I'll have a couple other goodies for you here in a minute, but if you want a copy, just comment the word workouts. I'll give you a link to join our free community where you'll get those plus a ton of other resources. So we built out his training program. So now his actual workouts, his actual muscle building strategies were fitting into his weekly schedule. All right. And we gave him options so that he never felt like, oh man, if I don't have 45 minutes, I can't get my workout done. Like, no, if you only have 10 minutes, you can get it done. If you only have 30 minutes, you can get it done. We build out something that actually works with the time that he has. All right. Now, moving on to why everybody is watching this video and why you're watching this video, which is the nutrition aspect, which we call our meal strategy. Remember, there's 2 types of sugar. There's the processed crap man-made stuff that gets put in all the junk that combined with fat and other chemicals and all sorts of other scientifically backed strategies turns what looks to be harmless food into very addictive snacks. That's not really the sugar we want to have primarily in our diet. I'm not saying you can't have some of it. You totally can. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what we're after here is fructose, which is the sugar found in fruit. Because fruit, besides being a nutrient-dense, power-packed food that has a lot of vitamins and minerals that are good for you, it's also very satiating. Okay, some of the most satiating foods out there are fruit, especially things like apples, berries, and watermelon, pineapple. Those foods are very filling for a lot of people. So what we started having Brian do is we started including fruit in his meals every single day. Not all of his meals, but we had fruit strategically placed in meals where he would normally have a really bad sugar craving. And every single day he would have some fruit to curb that craving and also to feel better, because when your liver glycogen is refueled from fructose, you're going to feel really good. Your energy is going to be better. Your workouts are going to be better. Your mental clarity is going to be better. Everything's going to be better. So not only were we cutting back on the calories that he had been eating through all the processed crap and the junk and all the other nonsense that he'd been including in his diet, well, now he was curbing his cravings. And so he no longer had that like never-ending desire for food. And we included strategic fruit snacking at certain points in his day where he was, liable to go out and grab a Snickers or, a piece of chocolate or something like that just would end up being a downward spiral, right? It would be like, all right, I just had that candy bar. Well, now the whole day's ruined. Might as well just wait a couple of days to start over. Well, that cycle ended. So now we were getting on track and we were staying on track for a long period of time. Okay. And that's really what it's all about. That's the name of the game. Okay. So every day he would have fruit. So this is why I tell guys, look, you can have sugar. Now let's talk about the bad sugar. Where did we bring that back in? Once Brian had established the foundational principles, which is movement, muscle, meals, and he had consistency, he had accountability from our coaching team, from our community. He was bought in 100%. He's seeing results. The weight's coming off. He's feeling great. He's fully in control. We would strategically allow for some of the junk in his diet. Okay, whether that was like a donut with his daughter or pancakes with some syrup and stuff, on Saturday mornings. But we would be strategic with it. Okay, it wouldn't just be a free-for-all. Typically what we were going to do is try to combine healthy foods with higher sugar foods. Like if he was going to have a donut, we'd be like, have a protein shake with it, okay? Or if he was going to have, a treat with his kid or whatever, try to include something that is satiating with that high sugar food. So what a lot of people do is they just go out and have a bunch of cookies, okay? When it would be better to have a high protein meal followed by a couple cookies if you're really craving it and it's part of your plan and you're going to be back on track in no time. That's totally fine. But it's got to be when you have the foundation in place. A lot of people rush into wanting all the flexibility in the world, right? They want to be like, hey, I want to still have my cake and I want to be ripped and all that stuff. I say, listen, I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying we got to reset your appetite, right? We got to reset your brain and the patterns that you have, your rituals, your habits, your routines. And the early stages of this can feel somewhat difficult. We make it as easy as possible inside of our program, but the early stages can feel difficult in some cases. And so we try to get you to a place where you are in full control of your daily routine. And how do we know that you're in full control? Well, you really start to enjoy it. You're like, man, this is like not hard. When people start telling me, when our clients start reporting back that this stuff just isn't hard anymore, it feels like it's second nature, everything's all good, man, I can't believe it's this easy, then we know we can start to include some flexibility at strategic times. All right, so this is how Brian ate sugar every single day for 93 days straight. And it was much longer than that. I mean, he's been with me for years now. He's been a client for many years. And he's still crushing it. Still has a six-pack. He has 51 now, I believe. And still maintains body fat under 15% year round, eating sugar whenever he wants, assuming it's mostly from the healthier version of sugar. All right. So we don't need to demonize sugar. We just need to make sure we're getting the right amounts of calories, the right amounts of protein, and making sure most of the sugar intake that we have comes from fructose, which is fruit. Now, I will say this just as a side note, because I know there'll be people in the comments trying to call me out, but all carbohydrates, whether it's from rice, potatoes, fruit, candy, doesn't matter. they do get broken down in the body and turn into glycogen, which is technically sugar. Okay. What I found is it's not so much the sugar that is the problem. It's the foods themselves. It's the cookies and the junk that's just super addictive. The chips, the whatever, right? That just, it's hard to stop eating them. It's addictive because it's designed to be that way, right? So don't feel like something's wrong with you. It's just the food itself is designed for you to eat more of it. It's a profit center, right? They want to make tons of money off of your addiction. And that's really it, right? It's just like anything else that's addictive, cigarettes, alcohol, whatever. It's just plays into the psyche, which is really, it comes down to stress relief, right? These foods give you a temporary relief from stress. They make you feel good temporarily, followed up by a ton of crappy feeling that really sucks the life out of you and adds body fat to your frame and makes you feel like total crap. So if you want to fix it, if you want to level up, if you want to become the 2.0 version of yourself and you're sick and tired of struggling with this stuff, you're like, listen, I want to be in shape. I flat out want to be the total package. Like, this is the year that I become the person that I'm proud of when I look in the mirror. You know, no more games, no more joking around, no more goofing off. This is it. I'm done saying I'm going to do it. I'm done putting, my mouth out there and saying something and not following through. I want to be a man of my word. I want to transform this year. Check out the description of this video or in the comment section. I'll post a link to our program. It's not for everybody. It's for the person who is all in, who wants to make a change, who needs a plan that is specifically designed to fix their problems, the problems that they encounter every single day, from a lack of time, emotional eating, struggling to understand how to put all this together, struggling with a schedule that is oftentimes inconvenient and unpredictable, and also dealing with the head games, right? The mind games of not feeling like you can do this, to feeling insecure, feeling lack of confidence, not believing in yourself, because let's face it, if you haven't done it before, it's hard to believe that you can do it. So I say all that to say, check out those links next. Check out our free community. If you want to start there, it's a great place to start. And I'll talk to you next time. Life moves fast. Make it count. Peace.